Good evening, everyone. So, real quick, I wanted to just put this little video up. I just recently put a video up speaking about honor your parents and everything like that, and broke down the why and the what's and all of that. So today, I want to touch on the children. You know what I'm saying? Why we should honor our children. Because first off, they're not our children. Like, they're Mother, Father, God's children. They're not our children. Now, if anything, and I know, hold on, just hear me out for a minute, because as we move along, you might start being able to receive where I'm coming from with this. So it is my awareness and my understanding that I spoke about this in one of my videos too. I believe it's talking about soul contracts and how we set up a soul contract and all of that prior to incarnating into these physical realities, right? So when we are about to have a physical incarnation again, we do a soul contract, which is we get together with our guides, guardians, and maybe some ascended masters and those souls and spirits that could assist us with us achieving the highest potential and probability to attain what it is we're after in our next incarnation. So when we are all over there on the other side of the veil, putting these things together, there is only one Mother, Father, which is Source. Now, we will come together as souls, soul tribe members, and all of that, and we will decide who is going to play what parts during this incarnation to assist us with what it is we're trying to attain during our next incarnation. Right? That's how it works. So, say one of my soul tribe members or two of my soul tribe members be like, okay, I'm willing to assist you with your next incarnation. So we will take the role as your mother and your father. So we'll go down and incarnate before you so that you can be born through our line. Because once they incarnate, they're going to forget about the contract. But see, me still being on the other side of the veil, that's what souls do. They get to choose, their parents and what line they're going to come through. So by me already having a contract set up with some of my soul family, and we already established how we're going to make this thing work, there is the awareness that yes, when I get here, they're going to view me as their child because I'm coming through them. But in all actuality, there is no parent. Their whole duty and obligation, responsibility is to instruct me, nurture me, and give me guidance until I come to a stage and a phase and an age and level to where I can venture out in this world on my own and start doing what it was that I came here to do for this round. But see, parents don't have that realization because they forgot. And a parent has a bad habit of, placing themselves above a child, saying, hey, I'm the parent and you're the child and you don't know nothing, I know everything, and so on and so forth. And that's where a lot of parents go way wrong at. Because you got to understand, when a child incarnates into this reality, they're super, super, super fresh from the source. They just came through the veil. So they're still super connected to the divine. As for the parents, they've been here a number of years by the time they start having children, and so they've already been exposed to a lot of programming and things like that, to where they totally forgot everything that went on prior to their incarnation. And so a child is actually a tool that's used where the parent is supposed to learn from the child, as well as the child is supposed to learn from the parent. Is energy is always a mutual exchange. You know what I'm saying? Give and receive. Like, so it's always supposed to be mutual. But where parents go wrong at is they forget that awareness, and a lot of times they will stunt a soul's growth and development. Now, sometimes it's for a reason, but just on the basic level though. This is just for basic understanding for the parents. Like, your child, that soul that incarnated through your line is not your child. You were chosen as a custodian for this soul to give whatever lessons was needed for that soul's growth and development until they are of an age to where they can get out here into the world and then get on their journey and their mission of what they came here to do. And parents, you need to be mindful about stunting a soul's process and their mission by overwhelming them with your idealisms and what you think is this or what you think is that, and stopping them from, when they suggest something and say, hey, you know, I this, or I feel like that, or I'm connected to this, or I talk to, you know what I'm saying? It's not for you to reprimand that child for anything that they share with you, because all that does is causes a bridge and a shutdown, which ultimately creates trauma within that child to where they start receiving these distortions and they start shutting down, and they have all of this psychological warfare, this psychological distortion that they're ultimately going to have to sort through, clear and cleanse out when they get older, in order to come back to their true and divine self. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that is given by the parents, because the parents don't have an awareness of this child being a divine being that has chosen their line to come through in order to accomplish something for their soul's higher journey. So when we can get to a level where you understand, or you understand, like I had a conversation, I had spoke to my father one time, and I believe I told him, I'm like, man, you know, in another lifetime, I was probably your parent. You know what I'm saying? I was probably your father. And he looked at me like just to even have that as a consideration was unfathomable. What? No, you man. You know what I'm saying? You came from me. It could never be. And see, that's the thing. Now, I spoke about the what and why with parents, and you can't hold them any kind of way about, you know, what you don't know is what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? But we, as guardians for these souls that's coming into this reality, and they have their own missions and journeys, you know, that they're here for, is to do nothing to hinder or stunt their growth. Is only to be loving, caring, and considerate of what it is that they feel they need to receive or participate in order to become the best version of themselves. And a child would talk to you. They would tell you, hey, you know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm hanging out with my imaginary friend, and I'm gonna come get with you in a minute, but let me finish doing. And the parent, hey, what do you mean you hanging out with your imaginary friend? Ain't no such thing as an imaginary friend. Man, if you don't get downstairs right now, and I don't want to hear nothing else about it. And see, what you doing is you're you're training this child unknowingly to cut off their connection with the divine. Because we all know that a child comes into this world not knowing anything, right? So if a child gets to a point where they like, hey, you know, I'm hanging out with my imaginary friend, how do they know about an imaginary friend? Unless there's something actually there that gave them that awareness of that, and they come to the understanding that you, the parents, can't see or hear, but they can. But when they try to share what's going on with their reality, you automatically shun it. Oh, you crazy. Don't say stuff like that because people gonna think you crazy, man. Don't never let me hear you say that out loud again. And see, what you're doing is you're causing this child to feel this soul to feel a type of way and sever its connection with the divine faster than what probably would have normally happened with time anyway, being in this type of reality. So we got to be aware that we've been given a very, very beautiful and great honor to be the caregivers of these divine souls that are coming here to Mama Gaia in order to have a human experience and do whatever it is that they came here and contracted to do. Because we catch karma too. You know what I'm saying? Based off of whether you know or don't know, because, you know, you have free will, but it's just better to have an awareness and let a child be, and you may be surprised at what you can learn from that child than just shunning and shutting them down, automatically thinking that you know everything that's going on and they don't. But they're fresh from the heavenly realms and you've been here being programmed for a while. So make it make sense. They're coming with divine connection and energy and remembrance because they are not too far removed from being in the heavenly realms, and you've been here and you forgot all about the heavenly realms, and you walking around wondering, is there really a God? You know, when a child would tell you, yes, there's God, there's unicorns, there's this, there's that, like they'll tell you all about it. You know what I'm saying? But you blow it off because you're an adult, you're grown. So I know what's what, and you don't. And try to break yourself out of that habit, because that is a really bad habit. And the children that's being born now, in these days and times, they are going to be a totally different type of human too, because they're going to come already everything equipped and remembering. They're going to remember who they are, why they came, and so on and so forth. And they're going to be the future teachers of the generations to come after them. So we have to be mindful to pay attention about the kids, because they are not our possessions. They are a major blessing that we were honored with by the universe, entrusted with by the universe to come through our line, and for us to be the caretakers until they are of a stage to where they can start doing that for themselves. So just think about that for a little bit, but it is true. I promise you, there is no such thing as a child. Let me give you that, and let me give me a second. let me give you an understanding about this. So there is no such thing as a child. Like, this soul that's inside of this child's body, this physical body, is a very ancient being. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it had to manifest in this particular form because the soul, the spirit, the spark had to integrate fully and thoroughly into this human suit in order to really gain, or to really enfold, become a part of this illusionary structure. So the soul had to really mesh with the human vessel. And the best way for that meshing to happen most naturally is to be born into this physical body and grow up in it, so that there's no clash of interest, so to speak. Like it becomes a natural state of being, because you're growing, and as you're growing, you continuously adjusting, and now this suit that you're in doesn't seem like something foreign. You know what I'm saying? It becomes you, until you get to a place in a space where you start remembering that you are not your physical body, but you are a spirit, a divine spark of Mother, Father, God, and you are a spirit having a human experience, but you are not a human per se by nature. You are a spirit having a human experience. But like I said, in order for the soul to fully be able to integrate all the way into this reality, this structure, you know, they have to be born in the womb. And so by the time they're born, through their physical caretakers, you know, it feels real. So now you can fully participate in this experience, because, you know, nothing feels foreign, or, you know, it feels real. You feel like this is actually you, like you have entwined with your avatar, and now this is you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's you. If you've ever watched the movie Avatar, as a matter of fact, you'll see they kind of showed you that on there. You know what I'm saying? Where the spirit of somebody had to actually adjust to being in his avatar. And when they did it at later years in life, you know what I'm saying, instead of earlier stages, it was kind of a little disruptive, until the consciousness that took on the avatar adjusted to the structured settings of that physical avatar. So when you come from birth, you know what I'm saying, you get all that. By the time you learn how to walk and everything, like, you've integrated totally. And now you can fully engage with this experience without any conflict between your spirit self and your physical self. So in that sense, that's what I'm saying. The only children are because ancient soul took on a physical vessel, and the only way to go through that process is the soul has to be born into its avatar, and thus you have a child, and that child is going to grow up to become whatever it is that they're designated to do and be. But in the real world, which is the spirit world, you know, the heavenly realms, no, we are all ancient souls, some of us more so than others, but we are all souls that have been around for, there's no number. We've been around since the beginning. I mean, if you really want to be honest about things, we've been around from time immemorial, before physicality even took form, before these structures and these realities and planets and universes and all that. We were around. We've always been a part of Mother, Father, God. So we've always been around. We are ancient spirits having these different physical experiences in these realities. So if we want to be honest, there's actually no such thing as my child. You know what I'm saying? Because you're, as the parent, you're just one of the soul tribe members, you know, that decided to take on that role for one of your soul tribe members, so that they can get whatever lessons and growth and whatever it is that they have to go through by coming up under you, in order to benefit them for their highest growth and development later on down the line. So let's be mindful as parents to understand kids, they not kids. Like, I know you've heard the saying plenty of times. You say, oh, you could tell that child has an old soul. You better believe it. They all do. You know what I'm saying? Some more ancient than others. And same with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really trying to go to church or go to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But if we gonna make it make sense, let's make it make sense. Now they talk about the thought that came to my mind is when Jesus was 12 years old and he was in the market, you know, debating with the learned minds of the top scholars of the land at 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? And he was leaving them in awe of his level of awareness and understanding of the laws and the teachings of the law and just about life in general at 12 years old. So where does this come from? Because he was tapped into his divine self. You know what I'm saying? He tuned into his divine self. This avatar he was in, this vessel he was in, the 12-year-old vessel had nothing to do with what was coming from out of his mouth and from his mind, from his soul, from his spirit. You know what I'm saying? He was tuned in to his true self, his real self. You know what I'm saying? His avatar was 12 years old, but his soul is ancient. And it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because it was prepped and brought up correctly to where he was able to never really lose that connection with his spiritual self as he was growing up in this physical reality. And that's why he was able to astound them. And they were so, because they so used to looking at, oh, you're this age, you shouldn't be but at a level of this or at a level of this at this age. Man, that don't have nothing to do with nothing. If you stay tuned in, or if you tune in, these physical bodies have nothing on nothing. They can't even live long enough to even start being able to have any type of oversight or anything about anything. Our souls are ancient. And all we do is we play this game where we come through the veil of forgetfulness, and we already have designated which of us are going to be what for us and when and how and all of that. And then it's time to be born and play the game. So give your kids some room. They're not as lost as you may think they are. They're not as slow as you may think they are. They're not as unaware or anything like that. They're ancient beings too. It's just they haven't come across the right triggering moments and information and being able to incorporate that to trigger that awareness to come back in order to realize that side of themselves. So same way as I gave the spiel about how parents, you know, and they chose to forget in order to do and be, is the same thing with the children. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only one mother, father, and that's Source. All the rest of us are their kids, the divine sparks of the divine, role playing to create or for growth and expansion on our own individual levels. That's it. So, you know, my channel is Let's Make It Make Sense. I hope I just was able to help do that for you. And until the next time, peace and love. And yeah, pay attention to the children. We can learn a lot if we just take time to sit back and listen and not just, oh, you don't know nothing. I know. No. The moment that you're doing that shows that you don't know anything. And maybe you need to sit back and ponder that. Because it's energy exchange, mutual. You know what I'm saying? They are here for us to grow and learn from. And we are here for them to help them grow and learn and evolve. But ultimately, all of it is for all of our evolutions, no matter what role we're playing at this or that particular time. So peace. I love y'all. Real quick. Only lasted 25 minutes, so that's good. Talk to y'all later. Peace.